All right, I want to start a little bit ahead, back from where we ended last time. Last time we accidentally went to like 1991. I'm going to start here in 1988, and this, ironically, this plane crash, for those of you that haven't heard this yet, came out in the echo of April 1st of that year. Okay, so I don't know what the reaction on the ground was to seeing this, and the Bentry people helped rescue someone that crashed into Mount Oglethorpe. But it turns out it was a real air crash. Now, the Echo did not mention the guy's name. And I don't know if that was for liability purposes or what, or they didn't know. I ended up finding it, and it's really pretty, forgive my sense of humor, but it was pretty funny. Not that he crashed. The guy's flying from Blairsville. He's going to Atlanta. He's an insurance guy, which is also funny. And he's following 515 in the fog, right? Because it's really dark out, and that makes sense. He's going to take Highway 515 as far as he can. He gets this idea that he's going to take a shortcut. That shortcut took him right through Mount Oglethorpe, literally. So he went upside down. He caught on fire. He died. But it was April 1st, which is also awkward. But nothing tops his name. His name was Cliff Spikes. So if you got a name where you're going to spike into a cliff.
There you go.
Okay? I mean, I know it's Clifford, but Cliff Spikes, the insurance guy. Yeah, that's just all kinds of, on April Fool's Day, all kinds of bad news. Anyway, but this is a real story. It wasn't fictitious. This is what our old sign used to look like back in 1991 at the front gate. Well, Cove Road, the Cove Road entrance. We still have the little garden there. I don't see the bent tree, but I think it's there. It's on the sign too. Club Tamarack gets a name. So there's a contest. Prior to 1992, Club Tamarack was known as the Main Club. Okay, and this was the Little Club. I know they're real creative with names around here, but we had the Little Club and the Main Club. So they have a contest, and someone went with the name Tamarack in that one. So also very creative. I just want to point out that we have no tamarack trees in Bentry, nor do we have any in Georgia or in Jasper. But Club Tamarack won. Now the runner-up was a cool name. It was Club Windswept, which I thought was a pretty neat name. Unfortunately, that didn't take the lead. But it wasn't until 1992 that it was Club Tamarack. So this is when our front new public safety office was built. It was constructed in 93. It finished at the end of 93. And the admin building came right behind it in 94. Prior to this, the admin building was where the mail center is today. And it was two trailers with walls built around it to make it look like it wasn't a trailer. Okay, well, but this is really nice. I think this happened all at the tail end of Paul Boring's stint as general manager here. And, when you look at the buildings, they kind of, I don't know, they favor each other. This is the newly built footbridge over the spillway. 1993. This is the first iteration before it got washed away or construction issues. But I just want to point out to you, I'm 99% sure that that's Joe Four.
Oh, wow.
I'm just saying, it doesn't have the names in the captions, but if anybody's got Joe Four's build, that's him.
It does look like him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Joe. Now, I want to tell you, Edie, thank you for this tip, but this used to be known as the John Lewis Bridge. And the reason for that, apart from him helping, John Lewis, who lived up on High Trail Vista, bought the land where the original overlook was over Hendricks Mountain, and he used a piece of that in the construction of our original spillway. Sadly, it blew away, and no one has it anymore. But it was the John Lewis Bridge for a while. Most people have forgotten that. Have you seen this, Edie?
No, I have not.
All right. Okay, I didn't think so. This was our original mail center diagram, and this is an expansion. Oh yeah, we're going from 400 to 700 mailboxes. That's right, 1993. This was in the parking lot of admin, right across from the corner office, right uphill from the fire station. So it's basically a covered annex with a door and a bunch of mailboxes. So that's, if you want these later, Edie, I'll be happy to send those to you. Yep, so that's just a little diagram. And there's a picture I have of it. Now, I cheated on this. I got a little picture book from Mel with the construction of our admin office. And this was off the back corner of the window in one of the pictures of the employees. Okay, so I pieced it together and said, all right, I'm going to crop this out and give someone an idea of what it looks like apart from a diagram. So that's what that is. Do you need that too, Edie?
No, but I
Okay, great. Okay, great. Now this is something that maybe Edie doesn't know about either. And this was really a surprise to me. 1995, Reed Conrad's house today at the end of Oak Court, which is off of Frost Pine Circle, there was a big thing where they thought we had a bunch of Indian ceremonial graves uphill from Crippled Oak, downhill from Oak Court at the end. So these 3 lots that are in pink here are where the items in question were. In this report, we even brought in not just archaeologists, but we brought in people from the Eastern Band of the Cherokee, and they evaluated. They said, sorry, what happened was 100 years ago, a whole bunch of trees fell down, created root balls, disintegrated, those holes filled in, but all the rock piles that they pulled up from the surface looked like Indian piles. So, sorry, I told Reed, you almost lived on a historic site, but I gave him a copy of the report, so he's still happy that he almost had one. I'm not going to get into the fictitious site on Mole Mountain, which was also investigated by Chip Morgan and found to be bogus. All right, here we go. This is, thank you, volunteers. I'm not exactly positive on the year, but volunteers helped build this bathroom. This is not the first bathroom from the beach. This is the second one. The original one, the door used to face the other direction towards the beach, which in my opinion makes more sense. The closer you get to the water, the better. But this is our bathroom here. And you're going to notice as we get into these last decades, these last 3 decades of Bentry, that most of our stuff, we're finding more and more stuff being built either through the foundation or through collaboration between volunteers, Lake and Wildlife, the foundation. Keep Bentry awesome, make Bentry great again. Sorry, that's my last political joke of the night. So here's our new mail center at the old location of the admin office. And some people will recognize all of these people, but that's Junior. Yeah. Oh, I did it, sorry. That's Ricky, our old guy that's still down the hill. Mr. Tim. Yeah. There's Ricky Kirk. Yeah. And the other guy is Mike Cantrell, and I don't know who he is. But that's Mike Cantrell, and this is right after they finished the mail center in 1998. All sitting on the porch with the flag there.
He was the director of public safety.
Okay, well, so he was, Cantrell family goes way back in this county. That probably helped get the job. Here's not our first trash center. This is our second trash location. So this was, for those of you that are brand new, this is downhill from admin past the current trash center, past the maintenance building, back in the corner. Before they had these cages here, we had bears that used to frequent here. So we have cages here. You'll find a duplicate version of this outside of Club Tamarack by the kitchen entrance, which is no longer being used. I hiked to, Mary Lou.
Did you know that Charlie Pittard is the guy who designed and built those and donated them and still lives here?
And was Charlie also involved with the Memorial Garden?
That was Charlie Pittard.
Charlie Pittard? Yeah, Charlie Pittard lives on Alpine.
Yeah. He did that, but I don't think he was part of the Memorial.
Okay.
He said he built the bridge, built the school.
I'm sure he did, yeah.
Just incidentally, not that you should do this, but I made the mistake of hiking around the backside of this from the ground. And as you look up near the top where the trash center is, the old one, there's a cave. And I'm not saying the bears used to live there on purpose, but sometimes the shortest path between places is. So I didn't look in the cave closely. I'll be honest with you. That's why I'm still here. So this is a diagram of the Memorial Garden. This is 2001, and it says the Bent Tree Spillway Falls area, and I'm skipping ahead. Memorial Garden, and this is the area, and this is opening day of the commemoration of the Memorial Garden. So there's a pastor here, and they're doing some prayers here, and they're building the memorial little plaque wall there. It says November 23rd, 2002 at that one. Edie, this is a clip from you. This is a second picture, the second version of our spillway bridge, the one that was washed away with Hurricane Ivan. Is that right? 2004. Yeah, Hurricane Ivan comes through, hits Bent Tree really hard. We get way too much rain, and that's where the John Lewis Bridge went. Down and over the waterfall. This picture here is the construction of the Saddle Club Arena up in 2004. So prior to that, I guess it was just kind of a place where construction material would go. And group of volunteers for the Saddle Club, which is outside of Bent Tree, but affiliated, they decided they were going to build this for us as a volunteer effort. And that's, of course, what it looks like finished. All the things that were contributed through various means are this horse statue here, the pavilion, the park, and the bathrooms were all in various stages done by volunteers. I think the hay barn, the storage barn, may have been a Bent Tree building off to the right. That's where they store the hay for the stables. Yeah.
Where did they get the statue from?
I don't know where it was created from.
Lakota Cove.
That's what I thought.
Lakota Cove.
Okay, well, Lakota Cove is where the statue came from. I don't know where that is.
That was the Saddle Club.
Yep. So this is our old general manager's house. You guys might know this as the cottage or the library. Wasn't always the library. Library moved around. Library used to be here. Then it moved back there. Right now you can meet there with the Nitwits if you want. Not the best group name for a group of people that like to do crochet. But if you notice, it might be a little hard to see, but you see this roof line and this kind of curvature in a lot of our original roofs in Bent Tree, to include the Parker House on Tamarack Point. You'll still find this kind of work. It was all kind of like, Lord of the Rings, living in the Shire, minus the octagon homes, but it's the same type of architecture you see all over. The original architecture was all very angular and kind of interesting, and maybe today considered postmodern. This is the construction, 2007, of the addition to our modern tennis center. So the upstairs and where you check in, this was built in 2007. This was, I think a lot of this was done by Mr. Wood. I think Eric Wood came in, and he's
All volunteers except one.
person.
Wow. He was paid.
Right. And so that was another example of a great benefit to Bent Tree. By the way, if you haven't been to the upstairs of the tennis center lately, it's really, it's been remodeled. It's really nice. Something worth checking out if you ever get a chance. Yep. 2010, pause and play, the dog park. Another volunteer effort. Not the best picture, sorry. I couldn't find a big one. I wanted to do this because this is before it was completed. Hard to see here, but it looks like there's a guy on top of the building there. Maybe it's a scarecrow, but it's pretty neat. Here's dredging photos from 2010. So what you're looking at here, you're looking from the 10th hole by Glenn Harris's house, looking at the beach where the playground equipment would be or the bathrooms would be. That's what you're looking at there. It's hard to tell with all the dirt. But right here is our dredger. Hard to see, but that's their little dredging machine. That is the marina, which we call the boat ramp area. That is all the dirt where the marina was. And back in 2010 again.
And they hauled that.
Most of it got hauled off.
That was what was taken out of the lake, and they had already dug holes to get ready to put the stuff in there. So all the stuff taken out of the lake was spread out all over the beach, was over there, all the boats were gone, they were taken down to the campground. It was all filled in there.
Well, part of it I found along the Beaver Run Trail, and I'm pretty sure they didn't build a hole there, but there was some leftover stuff that was moved there, but it's been slowly being cleaned up. So anyway, it's a really pretty shot of the lake, I think. Anyway, so just so you know, in the background, that's Burnt Mountain. Just want to point that out to you. Okay, so this is our old stairwell that we used to have at the spillway.
Wow.
Now this was deemed to be a hazard. I'm not sure why, but people used to routinely swim in the bottom of the waterfall there at the spillway, to include Therese Darby. Before she worked for Bentry, she was never a liability. But that was this was here when I first moved in 2018.
Yep.
And
Yeah, we went down.
and then they tore it out shortly after I moved in. Probably because they knew I was down there. This was a donation from, I think, is it the Griner family? And this was facilitated through the Bentry Foundation. But we got all this playground equipment from a resident through a donation of the resident. It's still in really great shape. My daughter loves it. She uses a slide all the time. The park. Some people might not know there's a little nature park behind Bentry, Admin.
Yeah.
But this was known as Cameron Park at one time. Stan Cameron, who owned the giant house at the very end, is at Thunder Ridge. He's on like 7 lots. Gigantic house, Porter Landreth's house. He paid a group of people to come in and in conjunction with volunteers, and they cleaned out the field behind Admin. There's still a bridge back there. There's a bunch of trails back there. There's a bunch of benches back there. It's a really pleasant walk, especially in the fall, even though it's harder to see the trail. It's a nice place to sit down at a picnic table and to have some food. Anyway, that's Cameron Park, 2011, June. And then we got the animal shelter coming in 2012, another foundation project, which has been, I want to thank you and all of our other volunteers that help with the animal shelter. By the way, you're going to be having an expansion probably pretty soon. We'll know tomorrow. We got a request for an expansion to the animal shelter going into the AC committee tomorrow. And that looks like it's going to come underway. But this is great. We got more cats than dogs, but that's just how it always is.
Yeah.
And then this with the stables office building, which used to be inside the stables building, which is now the break room. It was built in 2014. And this was another donation through the foundation. Oh, well, they moved the soda machine, but they still have one. But the second bocce ball court, I don't know where the original bocce ball court was. I assume it was close. Right next to it. Okay. Rick, you're the bocce ball master here. Can you tell us anything about this?
We built it.
Thank you.
We built it 6 months before the flood.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then we had to rebuild it.
Okay.
But that was half paid for by Lincoln Wildlife and half by Bentry.
There we go. Thank you again.
$8,000.
And in 2020, we're getting a little closer to today. We have our Nature Center Pavilion. Lake and Wildlife hosts lots of events during the warmer months where they bring in educators. A lot of times it's for the kids. They bring in people that bring in birds of prey or owls, or give little classes as you walk around to look at the rings around trees or different species of plants. It's a great little addition. It used to be a sand pit used for storage, I guess maybe for the golf maintenance guys.
Yes.
And then Art Tippett and a bunch of guys from Lake and Wildlife got together and put the roof on a few years ago. It really looks good. I like the sign that they have out front, which matches the sign at admin. It's also a nice feature. And then, some people don't like this place, the Waste and Recycling Center. Notice in the beginning, this is before we realized that we needed to tell people 800,000 ways what could go where and when. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make a comedy show about this. If you put a hot tub cover in here, you're going to get a fine. That's happened. If you come over here and say, oh, it says no styrofoam, well, my styrofoam doesn't count.
Yeah.
You're going to get a fine. The safety rule is this. If it's regular trash, put it in the bag and put it in the trash side. If you want to recycle and you clean all your stuff and it has no food waste, go ahead and put it in that side. If you're uncertain, put it in that side. If you're really uncertain, take it to town.
Yep.
Okay? But if you can't get through all that, just read all the signs.
When we had the old recycling with the glass
Yes.
bottles and everything, I used to go in there and, they'd have cheese, nacho cheese jars, cheese in there, and I was like, really? People fucking,
So the old recycling building, which we just tore down this year, it was the host house at one time. It was a minor hotel. It was an admin building at one time. It had lots of things, but we just tore it down. So the old recycling building is no longer there.
And if you really have a recycling question, call me. I don't know why it's so confusing, but it still is. But just
So this is our walkway at Sally Doss, our accessible walkway made through generous donations of the community and a few people in particular, and there was a matched contribution from Bentry. I think this is phase one. There are plans to extend this out to the dock.
If we get about another $80,000.
Okay, well, if we get another $80,000, it's really even if you just for a unique walk, if you just go out there, it's not usually busy. It's a nice place to go. Oh, Skip. Some people might recognize this new clock put in by the foundation for the Foleys. Jim, you were here for this one. It's a really it's a beautiful clock out there, 4 sides, and this was in honor of, through the Foley Foundation, through the Bentry Foundation. They not only donated this clock, but the money for the chipping practice area and an expansion of our driving range to include a second level. I really just like how beautiful Bentry is. I got to comment. We're really lucky to be here, and that's a fantastic addition. And then we've got our new spillway bridge. Okay, this is version 3, as far as I'm aware of. This one's really pretty too, and safer. So I like to walk through the spillway water. Not when it is up on the pipe, but I drive through at that time. And I think, I'm going to cover just some interesting little tidbits now. We're past the construction. I'm going to get into the fun stuff. Anyone wants a map to this? This is a moonshine still in Bentry over by the 13th hole. Built in the 1800s. So if you notice here, this is what you call a rock furnace.
Yeah, come close to me.
And right here, this is where the still used to sit. This place right here is where you put the fire. And these little iron bars, which are still there, is what they would use to adjust the fire. But I got a little map here. Anyone wants a little diagram? It's worth a walk. It's only like 500 feet.
It's not too far from my house.
Yeah, it's easy.
And I'm on 14.
Not that she's been there.
Yeah, I'm at the corner.
But,
right there.
okay, well, she knows she has her own distillery, but she's moved her location since I found it. This is the ice waterfall that happens on Chestnut Cove every year. If it's really, really cold and we've got a heavy rain the night before it ices over, And I've got a map to that too. Basically, it's right on the uphill slope from my house, 764 Chestnut Cove. Up the hill, you'll look up there, but over here, I've got a little diagram. I can happy to share this with you. We also have some bear caves not far from us, right, Rick? Yep, not too far from us right here. And then this, oh yeah, well that's the cave. Cliff area on Buckskull Court. So across from Rick's house and down the hill, there's evidence of caves and bear scat, and so not a good idea to go over there, but good to leave them alone. But you can see where it is in relation to our reservoir, water there at the bottom of Crippled Oak. Now this is, I don't know, Edie, maybe you've seen this before. Have you seen that? I'm not real sure where this happened in Bench Tree. I know it happened in 1984. Some guy went way downhill and the wrong way. No one got hurt. Public safety got a lot of praise in the Echo for this one, but I just want to bring this up because A, it's an interesting photo, but B, our public safety team does a great job when we have accidents like this that happen periodically over the years. So good for public safety. And for those of you that missed my first presentation, I went into the fact that our developer of Bent Tree, Dean Spratland, was the commander of the naval vessel, the USS Finback, that saved George Bush when he got shot down in 1944 in World War II. So this is a letter from George Bush to our developer of Bent Tree, Dean Spratland. Said, I'm going to go ahead and I don't like to read to people, but I have to for this one. Dear Dean, this is from Bush Sr. Just a note to let you know, I should read it with his accent, sorry. No, I'm just kidding. Not going to do it. I finally did get back here to my original squadron to thank you for everything you did about the Finback. Since my return, I've been flying quite a bit. Seems the boys want me to catch up with them. We're headed home shortly. When exactly, we don't know, but we're hoping it will be within the next couple of weeks. I still have a Sprat undershirt and one moldy Sprat sock, which you may receive through the mail someday. Thanks again, Dean, for all you did for me. I really do appreciate it. Hope the new job is a good one and has gotten you back to the States. Best of luck from a goddamn Zoomie. Very sincerely, George. So that's our president to the developer of Bent Tree. It's a really nice letter. They became friends throughout the years. Dean Spratland and George both talk about each other and some of the stuff they've written. And that's the second part of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions before I know we have other people that need to speak tonight?
Can I just add that Eric Wood is also the person the builder who built the animal shelter and volunteers.
Oh.
So Eric donated all of that. That was all donated as well, but he was the builder that he built the animal
Did he
shelter.
live over on Frost Pine Circle?
I don't know.
Okay,
He did?
okay. All right, if no one has any questions, I'll be happy to let other people get up here.
My name's Rick Patterson. What you'll be getting is this is the Lake and Wildlife Handbook. It's hot off the presses. It's not finished yet. It's really the first draft, but there's a lot of good information in here that you can take home and look at. Also, you'll be receiving a couple of documents that look like this. That is basically a list of plants, and I'll explain those in a minute. And then you'll be getting something like this, which is what I'm going to say tonight. We've got 5 minutes, so it's all down, and I'll check them off as I go through. I didn't know that I had half of the Lake and Wildlife Executive Committee here in the group. So I've got to be very careful that I say the right thing. Our primary mission of Lake and Wildlife is to lead preservation of our natural beauty and the wildlife. We live in a beautiful place. Dean Spratling, when he developed this, initially said he wanted it to be a mountain village. He wanted to be as natural as could be. He tried to put his minimum footprint he could. Now, of course, he took every square foot he could build a house on and developed it. It's still a beautiful place. We do that. We do that by working with all of the different standing committees, with the board, and with a lot of volunteer groups to try to maintain the beauty we've got here. It's a tough job. When you take a wild environment, which this was 100 years ago, and then you interject people, and you interject roads, and you interject ditches and golf courses and tennis courts, you change nature. And ever since then, we've been fighting that. Even though we try to preserve it, we're fighting it every day on how to maintain it, how to keep it healthy, how to protect everything. Now, we're not tree huggers. Don't get me wrong. We love our trees. One tree gives enough oxygen in a year for 4.5 people. I want to breathe. So we need to keep our trees. You go around Atlanta and things like that, all the trees are disappearing. I see a lot of these develop. There's not a tree in sight. Well, we're helping for them to breathe too. So we try to keep that and keep it healthy. Bent Tree covers 3,500 acres, 5.5 miles. It's a very unique and diverse ecosystem. Altitude changes from 1,400 to 3,200 feet. Mountains that face north, south, east, and west. 110-acre lake and amenity settled in the valley between all those mountains. Additionally, we have approximately 1,200 acres of natural forest. We have about 400 acres in lots that are deemed unbuildable that will probably remain as a forest. We have about 1,300 acres in residential lots and buildable lot, residence and building lots. And then the rest of it is the golf course, the lake, and the things around it. Our water is collected by streams flowing down from the mountain, from springs and from rainwater. It goes into the lake. It supplies us with water, supplies Jasper with water. The primary animals we have are deer, bear, turkey, foxes, coyotes, and numerous small animals. We've noted over 120 different bird species using Bent Tree as either a permanent home or migratory, flying through. So what does Lake and Wildlife do? Okay. We monitor our incoming and outgoing water as a part of Georgia Streams program, and have been recognized for the past 2 years for our diligence and leadership. Mason is a part of that of our volunteers that does that. We manage the lake fish program, include monitoring, stocking, and the health of the fish. We have an ongoing program to plant and monitor native plants on both community properties and about 1,500 test homes right now. We maintain the landscape areas through the community, keep that tree beautiful. That's Andy and his team. We oversee, maintain, and develop trails throughout the community. That's Mason again. We assist in monitoring the community facilities like the bridges, the pavilions, the docks, and help to decide needs. Lake and Wildlife were the volunteers that built the bridge, that built the pavilions, that built the bathrooms. We moved away from that due to legal requirements and things. We don't get out and run backhoes and build buildings anymore. We do maintain our trails and things like that, but we're out of the construction business, which is great. It helps us to get back to our real reason for being here. We maintain the Sally Doss Park, Mason, and a lot of people, but that's, and Andy too. We're developing a native plant resource. What I gave you, these 3 pages, this is just some things we pulled out of the database. We have probably the best database in Georgia for native plants. And not only just a list of plants, we've gone through and researched and said these are what we call keystone plants, which means they provide more benefit to the ecosystem than they take away from it. We've gone through and looked at what plants will grow in the sun, which ones will grow in the shade, which ones will grow in wet areas, dry areas, which ones are deer resistant. Now I said, remember, y'all all know, that's resistant, not deer proof. Okay. But Dora Sinclair and Barbara Collier are two plant people, and they've done an outstanding job. They've taken from other resources. We've developed our own database, and we're expanding it every day. And it's accessible to you through them. We monitor and treat 475 hemlocks in Bent Tree. 475. Now, to tell you how the ecosystem works, on the west side of the mountain, which where we are at, we have 475 hemlock trees. On the east side of the mountain, where Big Canoe is, they have 3,000.
Wow.
I'm glad we only have 475. We actually go through and treat them about every 4 years. Every hemlock tree in Bent Tree. If you have one, you'll be hearing from us at some point. And we do that free of charge, like donations, but free of charge. We're restoring stream banks and beds for all creeks running into Lake Tamarack to reduce silt. You see an example of that there at Coffee Cove coming in next to the bocce court, where we've gone in and restored that. We're going to do Mulligan Creek. We've done the creek that runs through Sally Doss. What we're trying to do is reduce the silt going into the lake. Water coming from the top of the mountain goes downhill, and all of that goes to the middle of the of Bent Tree, and that's the lake. And we're at the point where at some point in the future we're going to be spending money to get silt out of the lake. So what we've been asked to do is how do we make sure we minimize the silt going into the lake? So one of that is restoring the stream beds. We probably at some point will build some more silt ponds like they have on the golf course in different areas that will help reduce the water flow and help the silt to settle out before it gets into the lake. We're working to develop a comprehensive habitat conservation plan for Bent Tree. And we'll be presenting that to the board sometime in the fall. But we're actually working at how can we as a group help Bent Tree keep the community like it is. Now, that's what we do. Now, what can you do? One is attend our monthly meetings. We have one meeting every month, the first Saturday of the month, 9 o'clock, recreation room at Club Tamarack. Lasts till about 11, that you get free donuts and coffee. And good speakers. John tapes all of them. They're all on a YouTube channel that you can go in and look at past ones. It's a great resource. A lot of education, a lot of things going in that. We don't have a meeting in July because it's the 4th of July usually, and also Youth Fest, which is big BTAC. And in January because it's right after the holidays. We don't get very high attendance in those meetings. Help in any of the things I mentioned above. We need volunteers. If you realize that only about 10 to 15% of the people in Bent Tree actually volunteer. And that's why you see people that work in BTAC, work with Lake and Wildlife, multitask, doing different jobs and different volunteer things. We need volunteers, no matter what you can do. I'm looking for about 18 guys that can help kids build something during Youth Fest. Okay, if you're available for 3 hours on Wednesday, I can use you. The second thing is slow down and look. One thing we ask new people that move in, don't do anything to your yard for a year or 2 years. Go through the cycles and see what's growing. And worry about the inside of the house. Don't do anything outside unless you talk to Chris. But inside the house, let the outside. Just spend some time walking around your yard for the first year or so. It's a natural setting. Let it stay natural. But stop down and watch. One of the hardest things that I had when I left the business world out there and moved here is I was going too fast. So it's time to slow down and look at the little bitty flowers that grow along the way. I looked in the ditch in front of my house the other day and found 5 flowers that I'd never seen before. Okay, beautiful, little ones. You have to stop and look, but they're beautiful flowers. It's hard for us to slow down after leaving the hustle bustle. Many small plants grow seasonally and can be destroyed by well-intended landscaping. We are the forest, okay? We chose to live in the forest. So we've got to learn about the forest. We got to learn that there's animals. We got to learn there's snakes. We got to learn there's bugs. That's the forest. Help us to keep the negative impact. Help us to keep the negative impact we generate in our ecosystem. We want to minimize the impact that we have. You hear carbon footprint, okay? You've heard that. We want to minimize our eco footprint in Bent Tree. Keep outdoor lighting to a minimum. Okay, migratory birds, animals are at night. Learn. Educate yourself about us. Support us. Donate and buy at our Tamarack Trail sales. Mary Ada, she leads that. Roughly $12,000 a year we get from those two sales. And donate on your assessments to keep Bent Tree beautiful, because that's what maintains the landscape areas we've got. So that's what we do.
The Architectural Committee consists of 9 members, property owners who volunteer and are approved by the board to serve on the committee. The committee is assisted by an Bent Tree employee, Chris Felt, who you've already heard from. He acts as our coordinator and our enforcer. So when you get letters of fines for something you did wrong, it comes from Chris, but it's really coming from the AC committee, which was approved by the board. So don't blame Chris.
That's right, blame the board.
Blame the board. Right. When you bought your lot here in Bent Tree, attached to your deed were the covenants, the Bent Tree covenants. Covenants, conditions, and restrictions, referred to again as CC&Rs. I understand you've already had your governing document session, but the CC&Rs should be the document that's in the top drawer of your desk, because that's what governs your actions in here. It governs the actions of the board of directors of the community, of Bent Tree Communities, Inc., the corporation that is basically your property owners association. All of the authority of the board comes from the covenants. So that's the key document that you need to have in hand and tells what the board is required and responsible for. It also puts legal obligations on yourself and what you need to be doing here in the community. The AC, as Mary Lou mentioned, is the only committee that is established by the covenants. And the sole purpose of the Architectural Committee is to preserve and protect the property value of our homes by maintaining architectural and aesthetic harmony and compatibility. Now, that doesn't mean we have to be a cookie cutter community. We all don't have to look the same. We still like individuality, but it may mean that the AC won't approve a pink and purple polka dot house. So we do have some control of what things look like in here. Now, to help in this effort of the AC, you as property owners have a legal obligation under Article 5, Section 21 of the covenants to maintain your property in a neat, attractive, and safe condition consistent with the Bent Tree standards. So you have an obligation as well. In the administration of our duties at the AC, over the last 12 months, we resolved 549 property owner requests for maintenance, repairs, construction, and 178 violations of the rules. When the AC makes a decision, it is of course reviewable by the board of directors. So if you don't like what the AC did, you can always appeal to the board. We have our meetings of the AC the second and fourth Thursday of each month at 9 o'clock in the administration building, and we're open to everyone. So if you want to come see, you're welcome to come. If you've got a request in, you're welcome to come and talk to us about your request. In the document I handed out, I've got also listed some articles that are in the covenants that are key. Article 5, Section 1, of course, is the purpose that I just read to you. Article 5, Section 2 gives the Architectural Committee authority, exclusive jurisdiction over the repairs and maintenance of what you do outside your home. Inside, we don't care. But outside of the home, your structures on your lot, that's under the exclusive jurisdiction of the Architectural Committee. So all exterior modifications, additions, alterations, maintenance, repairs are subject to the AC, and we need to see a request from you if you want to do something outside, and then we can review it and give you an approval. It also applies to common properties. And in Bent Tree, we have a lot of common properties. For example, the lake has a green belt around the lake. There is no property owner on the lake that owns all the way to the lake. That green belt goes all the way around, and it's from 10 feet is the closest house up to 90 feet. So the green belt is all the way around. Same with the golf course. Next to the fairways, you have wooded areas before the lot actually begins. Bent Tree also has a lot of common property around the amenities, and we also own, what, 300 lots?
At least, well, like 400.
Part 4, more like 400 lots in Bent Tree that are still available for sale. So there's a lot of common property in here. So you may not, as a property owner, commence work on the outside of your property without first obtaining written approval by the AC. So get that approval in, that request in. We're very flexible on getting you out as fast as we can. Chris takes the requests and gets them to the committee so we can rule on them. If it's a request for paint, for example, we do have a list of approved paint colors, and you'll find that list on the Bent Tree website. And for primary colors in here, we do want to kind of do the forest thing. We have greens, browns, grays, and then we have a lot of accent colors that are approved as well. So if you pick one of off the list of approved colors, no problem. Chris can grant that approval, and you're on your way. If you want something different from what's on that list, then you have to come to the AC and get approval. We're flexible. If it's something very similar to what's on the approved list, we'll probably grant you approval. But if it's pink and purple polka dot, don't expect a yes. In the Article 5, Section 3, it sets forth what we do consider in approving the requests. We consider the aesthetic considerations, materials that you want to use. We have to approve the materials, what it may look like on the exterior of the buildings, and the location and to the surrounding lots. So we also consider your neighbors as part of your request as well. Under the covenants, we have 45 days to approve your request. We try to do it a lot faster than that. We're property owners too, and we want you to get things out quickly. And sometimes you have a contractor that has a window that you're trying to fit into. So we'll try to accommodate you whenever we can. Article 5, Section 9 of the covenants states that the AC is not bound by precedent. So if you see something that was approved for your neighbor 10 years ago, we may not approve it today. Or if it wasn't approved 10 years ago, we may approve it today. So things are changing with the community. As the character of the community changes, we can change as well. Also with the documents I handed to you is the AC request form, that second page. That's the document you have to get to Chris and explain on the document what you want to do. And it's also helpful to attach pictures and diagrams and to help us make our decision. For example, if you want to put a fence in for your dog, we need to know where that fence is going. We like it to primarily be on the back of the property if possible. Sometimes with the landscape here, it's not possible to have a fence in the back of your house. But we'd like to have as much information as we can, and it's even helpful if you show up to the meeting so that we can ask you questions if we do have questions. We do have a separate form for trees. As Rick mentioned, we do like trees in Bent Tree, and that's our main policy. We try to save as many as we can. But you can cut them down if they're dead, if they're going to fall on you or your house, in 20 feet of your house, next to your driveway. We do allow cutting and pruning. Vista pruning we allow to a certain extent if you want to get a better view of downtown Jasper. But it all has to be a part of your request, and that's the key. Because if you don't make the request and you do the work, you're going to get a fine. Now, we try to work with you. We try to be lenient when we can, but and sometimes if you say you don't know the rule and we give you a little leeway, the next time you violate it, you're not going to get any leeway. So be aware of that. On that third sheet, the tree request, you'll see that we do have some listed requirements regarding trees. If they're under 4.5 inches in diameter, you can cut them down if they're on your property. If they're over that, then you got to get a tree request form in and get approval by the AC. We also have a policy where you can help us with forest management of the common properties. If you live on the golf course or on the lake or next to bent tree lots that are not taken, and you want to improve the look of your property by cleaning up those common areas, we will allow you to do that and help Bent Tree do that, because we don't have the resources or the money to maintain our forest that we have outside the property owner's lots. So if you're next to a common property and you want to help us maintain that property, we welcome you to do that. But you have to go through the AC, get a request into Chris, and we have to approve it and then work with you to coordinate the activity on the forest management. So any questions?
Would you tell them how they might become members of the committee? How large is your committee?
We have 9 members on the committee, and what we do is if someone resigns or leaves the neighborhood and we have an opening, then we put out a request. Anybody wants to come join us, and we're glad to see you and hear what you have to say, and maybe you get on the committee. But it's volunteer, and but just, as long as we have a full committee, we have a full committee. But if somebody leaves, then we have an opening.
And are they welcome to attend your meetings?
Yes,
Even
yes.
If they don't have an issue?
Yeah, anytime you can come to our meetings. I said second and fourth Thursday of every month. We meet at 9 o'clock, administration office. Everybody is welcome to come and see what we do, and offer, your observations if you want. We're pretty open. You can't vote, but otherwise you're welcome to be there. Any other questions?
Square footage, 1250 on the first floor, minimum.
Right.
What's the rationale behind that?
I think in the past they wanted a certain size home in here, and that was the rationale originally. It's my understanding we're going to have a covenant vote this year with making some changes, and I think one of the items that's going to be on the vote is the size of the homes. Right now you have to have 2,000 square feet total of heated space. Doesn't have to all be on the same floor, but 2,000 total heated space in your home. I think there's a proposal to move that to 1,800 square feet, to lower it a little bit, and change it. It's been that way for 50 years, 2,000, but whether it can be changed or not is up for a vote.
I'm all in favor of that. You know, the cost of construction nowadays is
Yeah.
very, very high.
Right.
And, the more square footage, if you're trying to get a value, you're still going to get that value with 1,800 square feet
Okay.
with today's cost.
All right, so that may be one issue. And I understand the covenant votes, they'll have different items for vote, and they're individually voted, so you can not vote for one and vote for others, so.
So I have a question. If the architectural committee approves something, as far as on the exterior, does the city of Jasper or the county have any sort of independent authority over what you guys approve? If you're in Atlanta, it doesn't matter if it makes it through your architectural committee, you still have to make it through the city.
Yeah.
Probably don't consider what the code is or not.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Right, we don't do any code work.
Okay, so you
If
still.
if it's required by the city or the county or the state code-wise,
Yes,
you have to comply with that.
okay.
What we're primarily looking at is the aesthetics of the community and making sure we're not decreasing the property value by having something that looks atrocious. So, no, we don't enforce any codes.
Whatever they're.
We don't enforce their codes. That's up to the city. Now, if we do see something that's being, we might tell you that, hey, there's a code against that. Did you know that? And make you aware of that. So we try to help you out in that sense. Yep. Questions? All right, now the fun committees come.
My name is Brad King, and I'm with the chairman of the Courts Committee. And the Courts Committee encompasses two of our amenities in Bent Tree, pickleball and tennis. And the committee is made up of 9 members, each of which serve a 3-year term. And every year, 3 members, their term expires, and 3 new ones come on. So it's a rotation of committee members, and it keeps young, fresh ideas coming into the courts. And the committee's mission is to promote excellence within the tennis and pickleball program at Bent Tree, and to support the court's professional in the performance of his or her duties, and to monitor such performances. So we meet the first Monday of every month, and it's open to everyone. If they want to come, they're more than welcome. The committee consists of a chairman, vice chairman, secretary, and treasurer. And our agendas usually consist of maintenance and upkeep of projects around the courts area. And we are always working to grow the tennis and pickleball programs, planning the development of tournaments and social events, and recruiting volunteers and sponsors for the tournaments and all the events. The courts also put on a foundation tournament, which we do every year, and it generally brings in anywhere from $6,000 to $7,000 for the Tennis Center for Bent Tree Foundation. And our monies go directly to the students of Pickens County High School and or homeschool students also. And so we award generally 3 or 4 scholarships every year. And to date, this has been going on for a while, we've done over $250,000 in scholarships to students at Pickens County. Let's see. And the scholarships also, it's not just for college. We do trade schools. It just generally helps the community a little bit better. So on behalf of the Courts Committee, I'd like to invite all of you who have not yet visited our and your tennis facilities and pickleball facilities. I would just like to invite y'all to come and check us out. It's a nice way to get a little exercise and meet a lot of people. That's it. Thank you. Yes, sir.
What's the logic on keeping the courts locked during after hours?
You talking about like the pickleball courts or the clay courts?
Pickleball courts.
So the pickleball courts, we generally just lock them because it can bring in riffraff. I mean, I know in our community we don't really have that, but it's something that they've always done. They lock it up. It's usually, and if you're a member and you do a paid membership, you get a key to that, so you can go out there and flip those lights on and play. So it's just to keep kind of like the non-paid members. It is a fee to go down there and play pickleball, and so this way, after hours, if you're a member, you'll have a key to that gate. If not, you just can't walk on and play.
Now that we don't have a tennis pro per se, will there still be programs, tennis programs for the kids in the summer and that sort of thing?
There are, and Bob Coleman is in the process of getting his license. He's an excellent, he already got it?
I got it last week.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So we do now have a licensed coach for tennis, and he's also licensed in pickleball. Mm-hmm. Any other?
Thank you, sir.
Golf and Greens Committee is a sanctioned committee by the Board of Directors of BTCI. It's structured a little bit different in that the chairman of the Golf and Greens Committee is appointed by the board. They're not elected. I can testify to that because I'm the current chairman and I was appointed. There are 3 sanctioned golf groups recognized by the board The Men's Golf Association currently numbers about 125, I'm told. The Ladies Golf Association, which is broken into two components, the 18-holers, and then there's a 9-holers group. Now in the gentlemen's group, we don't yet have enough people brave enough to create a 9-holers group, but as my knees get worse, I'm sure it's coming. The ladies groups all have their own presidents, their own secretaries. The men's group has the same thing. Each of them is allowed to have members represented on the Golf and Greens Committee. The Men's Golf Association president is automatically a member, and they have a Golf and Greens liaison from the general group of the Men's Golf Association. The 18-holers has a representative, as does the 9-holers. Under the procedures, the operating procedure for the Golf and Greens Committee, the chairperson is allowed to accept up to 3 at-large members. This year I selected a lady golfer and a gentleman golfer who don't actually belong to either of the associations. So we're fairly well represented. Now, if you go to the website, you won't see a lot about Golf and Greens Committee, especially if you look on the budget line. We're not into budget. We don't have a budget. Well, we have a budget, it's 0. It's all volunteers, it's all donations, it's all sponsorships raised by the golf associations and golf groups, even down to some of the individual groups that play 2-3 times a week. Anybody here who doesn't play golf? Well, there's a bunch. Okay, I'll make a deal with you. I will pay for your first round, but you have to commit to playing 9 more during the balance of this year. If you do, before Christmas, Jim Pryor, our general manager, is going to dye his hair green. Isn't that right?
I've done that before.
I should have suggested more. Please get out and play. If you don't think you're ready to play or you're not good enough to play, I just saw one of my good friends up at the mail center. I asked him if I could mention his name. He said yes. His name is John DePaulo. Some of you who play golf know John, and his lovely wife, Debbie. John is legally blind, and I play golf with him 3 days a week.
And he beat me.
3 days a week. Some of the rest of us should be declared legally blind the way we play golf. If John can play golf, you can play golf. Come out and enjoy this wonderful golf course. The purpose of the Golf and Greens Committee really is not written anywhere, but it's really stewardship. Golf is a real game of courtesy, of honesty, of integrity. Well, some groups maybe not, but most golfers are that way. The Golf and Greens Committee looks at the golf course, they live it, they play it day in and day out. They bring suggestions forward. The golf pro is on the committee. The golf course superintendent is on the committee. The amenities manager, Terry Darby, is on the committee. It's really a communications channel to get to the people who control what's happening on the golf course and back to the golfers. We meet the first Monday of every month at 9 a.m. in the very small room at the very back of this building on the left side. Don't go in the men's room, go to the left to the club room. One of the projects that the golf groups are working on is to refurnish all the bathrooms, the waiting rooms, the new room that was added, and also the club room. This pavilion out here, this covered area, golfers did that. You heard about the Foley grant. The Foley family so graciously provided the new driving range and the new clock. All throughout the golf course, you'll find projects that the 9-holers, the 18-holers, the MGA have funded. The MGA in particular does a great job of bringing in outside sponsors from the community. When the MGA has a tournament, if you come out here, you'll see signage all over the golf course of sponsors in the community, from liquor stores to real estate offices to insurance companies, even to doctors' offices now, who are sponsoring golf at Bent Tree. You also know, thanks to Patrick and Jim, Bent Tree Golf Course is the home of Pickens County High School golf. Come out and meet some of these kids. Don't listen to them, don't watch them play golf because it's really sad. They are really, really good. We've got such a great reputation for our golf enterprise here at Bent Tree within the community, and we hope to be expanding that out in the near future. Please come to the meetings. The meetings are open. Membership, not so much. Only the golfers have votes on the Golf and Greens Committee. I'm the chairperson. I don't have a vote. The golf pro doesn't have a vote. The golf superintendent doesn't have a vote. Only the members, the golfers, get to vote. Yes?
What's the plan for the refurbishment of hole number 7, the signature hole of our course, which is the green grass? I'm probably talking to the general manager now. The green grass, the green indoor-outdoor carpet and the tree and all that.
The carpet's been donated. We have to make sure it's the correct kind of carpet, but we do have a donation for that. We have a gentleman who is not here any longer, but I believe is heading the bill on that. All 3 of the golf groups, the men's, the 18-holers, 9-holers, are all playing a part in that. It will get done. It will be completely renewed. Yes.
Okay, within our lifetime, it will get done.
Oh.
It's under construction right now.
We hope this year. Yes, definitely.
It's a really beautiful hole, and it's something I show my friends that come and play. It's great.
There are other things coming too, as well. We do appreciate the work that's gone on. John and his group. There have been a lot of drainage issues. Of course, every golf course has drainage issues, but the back 9 in particular has received a lot of attention. One of my pet peeves was hole number 12, where the step off the cart path to the gentleman's tee and twist your ankle pretty easily, but that's been corrected. Yes, sir.
Is it too late to answer your first question about if you play or not?
Yes. No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I didn't raise my hand. I try to play.
Well, come out and play. We all try to play. Come on. You're no different from anyone else here. The group I play with, the highest handicap is probably sitting next to you, and he plays regularly. I think the lowest handicap in our group is, what's Jim Jeffco? Probably 8 or 9. So, I mean, we're all over the place. Just come out and have fun and enjoy this.
I'm good at it.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Speaking of number 12, along the fairway, as you get up close to the green, where they cleaned up along that side where a lot of balls are lost, they pushed all of the stuff into the creek on that side.
We saw that.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Okay, I called, but I've never seen any results.
John is aware of that, and Ashley as well. So they know that happened. It was not supposed to happen.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are they gonna be able to clean it up?
We hope so. Before it washes away, we hope so.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Again, first Monday of every month, as long as there's not a holiday. If there is, it's the second Monday. Yes, ma'am.
May I keep doing that anyway. I saw a number of ladies' hands go up when you said that they does not golf. Well, I want to tell you, ladies, I didn't golf. I started golfing years after we moved here because a girlfriend finally talked me into it. And each year, the Golf Pro has a group of women to learn how to golf. You will never find anything more fun because the people are wonderful. It's, for us ladies, it's more social than it is anything else. A little bit of exercise and beautiful views, and then there's golf.
Yeah.
In that order for the women. Let me encourage you, try it.
Mm.
You know, none of us are any good, but we thoroughly enjoy ourselves.
Well, some of us are okay. I mean, we're not really good, but I'll clean this up for this diverse group. Norman Mailer once said something that was horribly sexist and isn't appropriate now, but he said, you never really get to know someone until you meet them in court. Well, the truth is, you never really get to know how nice someone is until you meet them on a golf course. You help somebody look for a golf ball in that hellhole on number 8, you know you've got a friend, okay? So come on out and play golf. Thank you all.
All right, like Mary Lou said, I'm Dave Stewart. I'm the chairman of the activities committee here at Bent Tree. I'm doing the exact same job I did in high school with my friends. I plan the parties, I get everybody organized, and then we have fun. And that's what I did in high school, so I'm doing it here now too. So our mission is to plan and promote recreational and social activities for the Bent Tree owners, just to enhance the quality of life here at Bent Tree. And as I've told the board numerous times, we think of ourselves as an amenity, just like golf, the pools, everything else. It's just stuff that we do constantly. We have 5 subcommittees. We're made up of 5 subcommittees. Families and Children, which is led by Kim Stallman. She plans all the Easter egg hunts, the Christmas party, the pool parties, the beach parties, everything for the kids and the families. Kim Stallman does. To include, she's in charge of Youth Fest. Now, Youth Fest is so big that she can't do it. So we actually have to pull in somebody else to help with Youth Fest. And luckily, Susan Kahn's here today. She's doing Youth Fest for us this year. And registration is going, and Rick does the registration. So I'm sitting here talking to all the people that work for us, so that's good. The other thing we have is community service. That's one of our subgroups. That's for the senior programs that we just started this year. They went to Gibbs Gardens today. We've had bingo a couple of times already this year. We've had a movie. So we're getting the seniors more involved to keep them going. Newcomers is also involved with this. So when a newcomer comes into Bent Tree, Kim Stewart gets the information from admin, and she gets with them, gives them a gift, invites them to all these parties that we have, and makes sure that they're welcome here. That also includes the library, the Bible studies, and that all falls under the community service part of our group. We have the Arts Council, which our Arts Council person is right here, Andy Kidd. He does everything with the arts. To include the Bent Tree Strings, the quarterly dance parties, nitwits, guitar lessons, cricket, dinner theater, and if you didn't go to the medieval banquet, you missed out. Okay,
Again next March.
There you go.
Medieval banquet.
So there were some great actors there, right, Ralph?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. The special interest is in Live and Learn is kind of where we've taken the other things that we do, the weekly events, the bridge, the bocce, the bunco, the bookworms, Pilates, water aerobics, all of those fall under special interest. And right now we are in need of a liaison. So if anybody would like to volunteer to head up that group, we would be more than welcome, happy to come help us out. Social programs is our big, I'd say our money makers. So as we go in, and the big one that we're doing right now is Friday. It's our spring fling. Everything's been advertised. Some of the things are so big when we bring in bands and stuff like that that we actually have to charge people. So that's one of the things. It's $25. You get a free meal. We've got a band coming up, and it'll just be a blast. We also do music on the beach 3 times during the summer. So June, July, and August, there'll be 3 bands down on the beach. And then one of the other things we started last year is we're having music up on the deck up there at Club Tamarack. So we've already had one of those, and we will have one in the fall also. And that's pretty much the 5 subcommittees and what makes up everything we do. Our budget this year is $55,000, of which $6,000 comes from BTCI. The rest of it comes from you guys when we do our fundraising for our fall festival, and then any type of ticket sales that we do for the big events. So the bands right now are running about $3,000 a band. So every time we bring one in, that's what it costs us to pay for that. And these big events that we have takes a lot of volunteers. Spring Fling that we're doing Friday, we have over 50 volunteers putting that thing on. From the decorations to the taking the reservations to the logistics to the parking. So it takes a lot of people to put on these big events. And the reason I'm throwing that out is because we are always looking for volunteers, always. So anytime you want to help, just give me a call. I'd be happy to help you find a place where you can help us out. The last part of that is that we plan, but we also communicate. And we work really well with Tari to make sure you guys know what's going on. Every Friday news, you'll see at least 4 or 5 things from Bent Tree Activities Committee. of events or something going on. Monday night picnics, I mean, everything. We put that out. We want to make sure, and what we don't want to hear is, oh, I didn't know that was going on. Because we try and get it out. We've got banners up, we've got the Echo that comes out, we use the Friday News, we use eBlast, we use everything to try and communicate to let you know of all the things that are going on, and we don't want anybody left out. In September or November, we will be planning for next year all the events. We have over 35 events scheduled this year. So in November, we'll sit down and we'll go, okay, what do we want to do next year? So I invite anybody when we have our November meeting to come out, give us suggestions. We're open to anything. The only thing that we'll say is we're open to it. However, that means you're volunteering to help us. Okay, because we can't put these on by ourselves. So are there any questions? Bent Tree activities.
Not a question, David. I just want to say, you were talking about the 3 beach parties. You didn't say they're all free. The beach parties are free. Like the spring fling is not.
Correct. Correct.
If anybody didn't know that, which is huge.
Yes, Ralph.
Do you have any tickets left for spring fling?
About 2.
2.
We just sold another 4 table this morning, so. So there's a few seats. You would be seated with somebody else, but we do have a few seats.
Thank you.
All right.
We're running over.
My name is Kim Arispe. I'm the secretary on the Bent Tree Stables Committee. I'd like to say that Mark Krasner, our chair, and Bob Kroll, our vice chair, send their regrets. Normally they would be doing this because Kim is not really the best person to come up and stand and talk about this. They're better, but I got 3 minutes. So I thought I would talk first about a little bit about the stables, a little bit about what we do, and then talk about our committee, if you don't mind. So our stables, everybody know where the stables are located? Yep. Okay, that's good. I didn't know when I first moved here. Had a hard time finding them. So if you haven't been recently, if you just kind of seen it by the side, we actually have a lot of buildings, a lot of different things going on. We have the stables where the horses are actually, housed in the evening time. We actually have a little area where we can actually wash them. There's actually a little wash them. You can actually hose them down and wash them. We can tack them up, just tie them up and like brush them down. There's areas for that. There's also arenas, where we can ride around. There's a little training area, where we can train people. So there's a bunch of different things that we have to maintain and watch over. And we don't call them pastures. They're actually called paddocks. So there's little areas where the horses are hanging out in the evening time or during the day. They're called paddocks. And we have to maintain all of those. So a little bit, why we're a little bit unique, we actually have 21 live horses there, 21 that we have to take care of. Not technically me, but the person who is over the stables. We also are unique in that we have an independent contractor and his team oversee the stables. And that's a good thing because, I did not know this, each horse has about 15 to 20 quirks, little things that make them different. We got 21 horses and 15 to 20 different things that we have to know every single day before we go and put somebody on this horse. And we want to keep the horses happy and calm. So we have to think about all of those things. So the great thing about having a contractor is that continuity. If somebody leaves, how are we going to train a new person coming in to do those things? So the way that we have set this up, is actually a good thing. They're also responsible for monitoring them if the horse gets sick. This is many times for them, it's a 24/7 job. The horse gets sick, they might have to have an IV. Somebody has to go out in the middle of the night to check that IV. Or they might have to go out in the middle of the night to check on a horse because he was sick during the day. And they have to monitor and watch each one of these horses and know them so well that say, hey, so-and-so is not eating his favorite food. Okay, there's something going on. There's a red flag, right? We need to watch it. And so there's a lot of things that I didn't know that I found out that I thought, that just might interest you guys if you hadn't been out there. So I have a little bit of statistics, and then I'll go about the committee. So last year we did 352 trail rides. So we got all these horses ready and did 352 trail rides. We did 132 arena rides. Like I said, we do lessons, and we did 115 of those. During, somebody had mentioned Youth Fest, we try to support Youth Fest. A lot of the kids like the arena rides. Last year we did 105 of those. We also provided 34 trail rides. So we really try to support that. We also do summer camps. We're already full. We do summer camps pretty much every week of the summer. We're already full. We usually are already full before we even get into June. So it's a lot of kids, and it's a lot of work. So you guys all mentioned volunteers. We have a lot of volunteers that have to come in, help with the horses, help with the kids. Especially during Youth Fest, we have a lot of volunteers. And I can't say enough about those volunteers and everything that they do for us. So our committee, we actually meet every other month. So sounds like we're a little bit more laid back and we're extremely structured. And I kind of like it because Keeve, who's our stable master, he actually comes in his hat. He's usually actually coming in from a ride. He usually comes in his hat, and we're kind of just all kind of laid back a little bit. But our business is not laid back. A lot of what we have to talk about is very serious. We have to maintain our fences. We have to, I heard water drainage issues, I think, at the golf. We have those too. And you can't, have horses out there in standing water. That's not comfortable for them. That's not good for them. We have to take care of those things. And then just buildings. We have a lot of buildings that we have to maintain. So most of our meetings are all about those things. Mark Krasner, who's chair, would sit there and literally look at his watch. And anybody that's been in the room and has sat in our meetings knows he'll look at his watch. He tries to keep us to an hour. Starting just then ending, he tries to keep us to an hour. And we do. Somehow we, conduct business, and usually it's about an hour. We do have 7 members on our group. We also have Tyree, who comes in and attends. We work with Tyree just like the other groups in here. We work with Tyree for communications. We have a great volunteer. Her name is Lynn. If you've seen some of the information in the Friday newsletters explaining about horses, explaining about, horse lingo, etc., that's pretty much Lynn and Tyree working there. So I feel like we have increased our presence this year to really explain, what we do and what we have to offer. We do have a mission that's outlined in our R&R. I'm not going to read it to you completely, but basically, the committee is responsible for providing input and feedback to the stable manager. And if we see something or hear something, we bring that to the committee and we, work through those issues. So does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Does the stable committee do any fundraising?
There has been mentioned Bob Kroll had talked to me about doing something similar to the Angels on Horseback. If you guys saw in the newspaper, Angels on Horseback did like a casino night, I think, some sort of casino night. Yeah, so he was thinking of something similar, and he knows a lot of different, single owner companies, people who own their own business, to get them to sponsor some of the things. So we have a straw man, for lack of a better word, for something, but on an annual basis, no, I don't think we usually have a lot of fundraisers. We do have a Halloween shindig that I think we bring in, some money, but I don't know how much money. Yeah, go ahead, Ralph.
We're negotiating with the Saddle Club.
Okay.
To have a fundraiser, I think, in November.
Okay, awesome.
With the equestrian and stables folks.
Thank you, sir. I did not know that. Thank you. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. All right. Thanks.